right, guys, welcome back to the gun shop. I'm Chris Cantrell with Bear Country Outdoors and
James Forsland with Bear Country Outdoors.
Thanks for tuning in. We got a good one. So with us, not only being in the gun shop a lot, we do run these banned. These are grandfathered in Washington State. So if you're in Washington, you're not allowed to buy an AR anymore. So we do hunt with these quite often. This is our bear setup here, and this is like our coyote setup. This is just for funsies, but we run different optics on these, and LPVOs have been a big question from a lot of people. Like, what's a LPVO? Well, Leupold, I have two of their LPVOs here. It's low power variable optics. So this in front of me here is their 1.5 to 4 power VX Freedom. And getting into an LPVO for a very, very low price, this is a $299 optic. So under 300 bucks, you could probably find it on sale for cheaper than that. This is a fantastic scope. 1.5 power, goes up to 4, gives you a little bit of magnification. The next step up, so again, the 3 optics that we're gonna review. We do have one of their Delta Point Pros, but we're not going to talk about that in this video. We did talk about that in a previous video, so if you have questions, you can ask us in the comments below. But for the magnification range, if you want a scope, so again, the LPVO, so the low power, 1.5 power, it's not quite, the zero magnification of a red dot, but it still gives you a very wide field of view and quick target acquisition, right? So that's why people are running these. So when you pull the gun up, big field of view, easy target acquisition. 299 bucks. Now jumping over to their Freedom RDS, which is their red dot sight, which looks like a scope. It has a side compartment where your little, I think it's like the 2032 or 20, whatever the battery is, little flat watch battery goes in there. It lasts forever. That is their like their shake awake technology too. So as soon as you grab the gun, the optic is on. When it sits for a certain amount of time, it goes off, so it's not going to run your battery down. But that's $299 as well. And that's $299 with
super good price too.
Dude, it's such a good price. And that thing's freaking bulletproof. So Leupold makes tough stuff anyways, but that RDS, which is a much larger optic system than their Delta Point, but it is rugged. I mean, it is like you could beat the tar out of that thing. Very quick target acquisition. Now people talk about the difference between a scope and a red dot, and if you have 1.5 magnification, or even on this VX6 HD, this is a 1:6, this is their patrol model. Why would I run a 1 power? And if this is 1 power, what's the difference between those? You still have eye relief on your scope, right? So when you look through the RDS, say for instance, if you shoulder your gun and whether that stock is collapsed or extended, you always have that sight picture, always. So on a scope, when you zoom in on your scope and your field of view kind of crunches down, and sometimes you get a little black ring and you got to scoot your face forward a little bit on the scope, you don't have to do that with a red dot. It's always the same. Whether you're here or you're there, target acquisition is going to be faster on a red dot. But if you need some magnification, if you're going to shoot these, I think anywhere probably past like 50 yards, like, don't get me wrong, like guys shoot red dots long ways, but maybe you're aging a little bit like myself and you want a little bit more power. I really like having the option of magnification. Now, again, these all have their place, right? So if you're going to be, if this is your bedside gun right here and you want very fast target acquisition and you're going to be shooting from, say, 10 yards, you should go with that. If you're going to be shooting something, maybe you're going to be shooting at 10 yards, but you also want to shoot 150 yards, right? This is our bear setup. So this is a 1:6 power, and it has a reticle in there so you can shoot at range. It also has their CDS turret on the top So you could build a dope sheet and shoot that at range as well. The Freedom, this model does not have the CDS turret on it, but this gun is like, this is a 100-yard gun. This is a 150-yard gun maybe. This gun, that's probably a 300-yard gun.
Yeah.
This is a 50-yard gun.
Yeah.
You know, so they're obviously different calibers. This is 5.56, this is 308, this is 9mm, but they all are set up differently and for specific purposes, right? So James shoots this 1.5 to 4 as well, and I feel like for $299, like
you can't beat that for the efficiency of it. How quick, like you said, target acquisition is super quick.
Yeah,
it's like if you're just looking for a scope to shoot less than 100 yards, it's for the price, especially for an AR scope. It's excellent.
I think it's really, really good. And the glass, I mean, for VX Freedom, which is like their entry-level line, I think it's fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's super, super good glass. Obviously, we shoot a bunch of different stuff here in the shop. We're not going to name some other brands that we don't like very much because that's not what we're going to do right now. But I will say that I have dinged some of these up to the point to where maybe I broke them, allegedly. Even though it's only $299, you can send it into Leupold and say, hey, this doesn't work, or I broke it, or whatever happened. And their customer service and their warranty department is like second to none.
Yeah.
And they will get you taken care of. They will fix your scope, or they'll send you a brand new one. So if that's not a great selling point.
Right, even for a $300 scope, you're still got a lifetime warranty.
Right.
So
now, the VX6 HD, it's a couple more bucks, right? So this one's $15.99, but the amount of features and the magnification, so this is like a 3:1 magnification, this is a 6:1 magnification. It's really nice. The glass is nicer in this. This has a lighted reticle as well. If you guys haven't shot a lighted reticle, it is super nice.
game changer.
Really, really nice.
Yeah.
Again, this one has a CDS turret, so if you're not familiar with those, when you buy a Leupold scope and it has that CDS turret, you can, so it's our custom dial system. So what you do is you would take your firearm and whatever ammunition you're shooting, you take like your muzzle velocity, the ballistic coefficient of your bullet, ambient temperature, elevation, all this data, and then you just type it into Leupold's CDS order system, right, for their dials, and they send you a free dial. So instead of there's numbers on here, so this is an MOA scope, so minutes of angle, right? So that's what those numbers mean, but you can get a scope. So say for instance, if we're just gonna go, like say we're gonna go in Eastern Washington where we hunt, maybe it's 3,000 feet of elevation. I know what the temperature is, and I can get that turret to where it will say 100, 200, 300 yards, right? 400 yards, however far, I'm comfortable shooting. But then when you're sitting there with your BX4 range finding binoculars, and you go, oh, it's 350 yards, and I can just crank to 350 and hold and shoot, and there's no holdover, right?
Right.
So
you're dead on. There's no guessing in the shot.
Yeah, and I've had really, really good success with that. I feel like they hold zero very well. And again,
this has the zero lock as well.
Yeah, which is really nice. So if you ever have an old scope, like say for instance, if I took this cap off the top of this scope and the adjustment dial, there's no physical lock to stop that dial from turning. So say for instance, if I lost that cap and I'm going through the woods and I'm smashing against trees and brush and everything else that you're doing, you're going to get some movement. It's going to go. And then with this, like James was saying, there's a button that physically pops out that locks it into place. So when you're which unfortunately we know from our Montana bear hunt that it's very important to pay attention to that, because
yes.
if those move, because I mean that can get bumped and moved, which happened to me.
It's a lot harder, but yes, it can.
It's a lot harder, but I saw it and I should have known better, and I should have turned it back to zero, and I didn't, and I missed. So first time as that ever happened. Probably never ever happen again. Ever.
It's a bummer.
But it's a very practical and useful scope for that firearm. Again, that's a 308, so it's going to have a little bit more range, right? A little bit more power. We're hunting bigger animals with that than the 1.5 to 4. Now, on that 9mm, that's not a long range gun. That's going to be potentially, maybe that's your home defense gun. That's your I'm going to the range, I'm going to go rip some rounds gun, and I need very, very quick target acquisition, and I don't necessarily need that magnification for longer ranges. Now, I ran a couple other red dot sights. I really like that is a 1 MOA dot. So what that means is, if you guys research some of these red dot sights, what you'll do is when you pull up the farm and you look and you're looking through that, a lot of times they'll be like a triangle, chevron, whatever. They're going to be what size optic. They're typically not a perfectly round dot, but the size of that dot, some will run 3 and some will run 6 MOA, meaning at 100 yards, 6 MOA, that dot covers up 6 inches, right? So the difference is if accuracy wise, in my mind, right? If I pull up, if I was going to shoot that 100 yards, which I'm probably not, but if I wanted to shoot a target at 100 yards, that dot's only 1 inch tall, right? So it's not covering the whole target. So I'm going to be inherently more accurate, right? Aim small, miss small, right? So I really like that they made that 1 MOA. Even shooting at close range, I feel like it's a much more precise optic for your firearm.
I agree.
To wrap this up, again, the Leupold Freedom RDS. This is $299. It's a 0 magnification red dot, and it comes with that mounting system, which is super, super robust. On the 308, we have the Leupold VX6 HD. That's the 1 to 6 power. That's 1 to 6 by 24 as well. So the tube is going to be a little bit bigger. That has a lighted reticle. That one's $15.99. It's very feature rich. And again, it fits that platform really, really, really nice on that 308. And then to wrap it up, we have the VX Freedom 1.5 to 4 by 20. So a little bit smaller version of that, but it's coming in at $299. So if you're just looking to get into an LPVO, this is a fantastic scope to get. So if you guys have any questions about some of these, and you don't want to contact Leupold directly, which obviously you can contact them, and you go to leupold.com to buy any of this stuff. But if you have any questions on this stuff, you can ask a question in the comments, or you can shoot us a message on any one of our social media pages. But we use all this stuff. We're big fans of Leupold. Like I said, I broke things. I've had to use their warranty, and I think it's a really, really high quality product, especially for the price you're paying. So again, if you have any questions, hit us up in the comments below. Again, this is Chris out in the gun shop from Bear Country Outdoors.
And James, Bear Country Outdoors.
We appreciate you stopping by.